All right, welcome back to the Starfighter podcast with Dom and Jake. How are you doing, man?
I am doing excellent. Just living the dream. Living the dream.
Very nice, very nice. That's what's
How
up.
about you, brother? How about you? How you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good. We're back again to talk about Andor episodes 4 through 6. This time we've been doing them in threes. I think this is a good way to do it because, as we've already talked about, the show is a slow burn, for sure. And so we're going to be talking about episode 4 through 6, but really we're going to focus on episode 6 for the majority of our review tonight because that's when we really get to the action. Before we do that, if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, definitely join the conversation, whether it's in the live chat or on the replay. Definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts, comments, questions, any fun theories. Let us know. And if you're watching live, we will put up your comments on the screen and we'll talk about them. But yeah, Jake, anything noteworthy before we get started?
They're sticking to a formula.
Yeah.
So you've already kind of mentioned it. They kind of set things up in 4. They kind of do a little bit of a lollygag in 5, and then episode 6, everything happens. Main thing is, I guess, is just Cass getting roped into the rebellion little by little. So it's interesting to see how it's changing him and like how he's going to go about handling joining the rebellion and handling what he does in the rebellion based upon his past history in the show. So I'm curious to see how this all works out, but we're going to find out hopefully by the end of the season. I don't know if we will though.
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. I mean, episode 4 is really about him getting recruited for this job, and picks right back where we left off in episode 3. And so it's obviously going to be this heist, and they're going to try to steal like a large portion of credits from like this Imperial base. And so that's kind of what he's presented with from Luthen. And Luthen is basically, he's like the architect behind the rebellion right now. And of course, the rebellion is at the very, very early stages of being formed and starting out. And so yeah, that's what he's presented with. Also, we meet the character of Vel. Kind of curious what your thoughts are on her character. There's been some theories that that Vel is actually Luthen's daughter, and I could definitely see that. Yeah, it would be interesting. I could kind of see that.
Vel's the lady that's on the planet that doesn't want really Cassian to join her people, right?
Yeah, so Vel's basically the leader when they go into their mission. But yeah, just like the way that Luthen talks to her in this episode, he gets pretty like angry and heated with her, and it does come across as like a father-daughter relationship just a little bit, I think. But who knows?
So
yeah,
you think that like Mon Mothma is her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had an affair with Luthen? And
no,
because that's her daughter.
It's not her daughter, it's her cousin.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I thought it was her daughter for a second. Okay,
which we find that out in like I think episode 8 or something. So that's a slight spoiler for this review, but it doesn't really matter.
Interesting. I don't know why. I thought it was like her daughter or like her sister or something. I don't know why. It might be her sister.
Might be, but I'm pretty sure it's her cousin.
Okay, well, we'll figure that out in episodes 7 through 9 then.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, that's just a theory that it could be Luthen's daughter, so that'd be interesting. It would kind of make sense too, because Luthen and Mon Mothma are working together. Vel's a part of it too, so if it kind of starts as like this family getting together, then that would kind of make sense, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
But what did you think of Vel's character?
She was interesting, I suppose. Kind of confused. I mean, this whole plan that we'll figure out, but then there I also like don't have anybody that can complete the plan. So, I don't know what her deal is, but she's just going into everything kind of half cocked. So, but I like her character. She's cool, I guess. She's alright. She's kind of stubborn, hard headed, and
Yeah, it's
she
kind of
does.
funny.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say it's kind of funny because she comes across as like being very sure of herself and yeah, like you said, stubborn. But then, as we'll talk about a little bit later, when we finally get to the point where they're where it's the heist and they have to execute the plan, she kind of like shrinks back in fear a little bit. She's not ready to execute when the rest of the team is. So just kind of interesting. I like all these different characters. They all have like um, their own very like specific personalities and character traits that I just feel like we're not always used to seeing in Star Wars, but like everyone is just so different. So yeah.
They do give those 2 episodes, 4 and 5, the time to figure out who these people are and why they're doing what they're doing, and where they came from, at least a little bit, so you kind of understand and can be somewhat attached to these characters. So I did appreciate that, but I don't think we needed 2 episodes, or at least, one full episode dedicated to that. But you're
Yeah.
right. No, they do a good job with these characters for sure, fleshing them out and kind of telling us what we need to know about them.
So then we can also talk a little bit about Cyril, who loves cereal, and he gets fired, and then he goes back home to mom, whines a little bit. Also, shout out to our viewers tonight. Just wanted to say that real quick. Hope you guys are having a great night. Let us know in the live chat. But yeah, he gets fired. He goes home, complains to mom. Mom pours him a bowl of cereal. They talk it out. They hash it out. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna help you out. Gonna talk to your uncle, that sort of thing." Um,
Very weird relationship with those two as well.
yeah.
First thing she does is slap him when
Oh,
she
that's right. That's right.
So
But you know what? I really like their dynamics too. Again, this is just a lot of things in this show. It's like we've never seen it before. Like these characters, they're very different in a lot of ways. Um, and like some of the stuff almost comes across as comical, but at the same time, it like works. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, I mean,
I think it does. At least it works. It works for me. It works for me, I should say.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting, especially with their dynamic. We don't really see too much of like their story progressing. I mean, literally every time we cut back to them, it took me out of the show a little bit every time I cut back to them, because they were doing the same thing, eating cereal and talking at the table. And it's like,
Yeah.
they filmed that in one day, and I can almost tell that like they filmed that in one day and then
Outfit
just
change.
like, yeah, and then just like cut it. And so I was like what's going on here? Like that took me out of it a little bit. But yeah, I'm curious. We really don't know too much about his uncle, right? That helped him out. I don't even know if they showed us him. So I'm curious to find out who this guy is, if he ever is even going to show up. But clearly, I don't think he's a good guy. But I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong about that.
I want to throw this out to the viewers too, and get their opinion. Hopefully, either tonight or on the replay, you guys can leave your comments. But Jake and I have been talking about how with this show, one thing that's really interesting. I kind of related it to Great Gatsby last week, but like it's like even the good guys are really bad guys. But like yeah, for this show, it's almost like things are flipped because for example, Cyril is he's a cop. Ultimately, he does work for the Empire, and it seems like he's behind the Empire. He backs them up. Um, but he's almost the victim. I mean, Cassian has killed people like some of his colleagues, behind the scenes, and then he kills even more in front of his face, and it's like you start to like sympathize with these villains, right? And so that's something that's pretty interesting. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? Is that something that's working for you in this plot, in this story? How do you guys feel about it? But yeah, I just think it's super interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, and on top of that as well, he almost he goes behind the Empire's back to even investigate it further because they tell him to forget about it. So he's like does work for them, but he like doesn't believe in everything that they do
Right.
for like the order that they want. He wants to justice rather than order. So it kind of makes you want to root for him a little bit, feel bad for him when he just gets fired and basically exiled from the Empire. Like they don't want anything to do with this guy anymore. Like I don't think they're ever going to let him back in no matter what he does, which we'll find out in later episodes maybe. But yeah, so he's just kind of doing his own thing. So he does work for the Empire, but he doesn't agree with everything the Empire does.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, we got Luthen is his name, right?
Yeah.
He just has an argument with that chick on the planet before Cass gets there. It's like, I don't even care like about your opinions, or even if you guys like make it out of this, like I need you guys to do this. Like it has to happen. Even if like it seems like the plan is gonna fall apart, it still needs to go down on this day. Like it's a deadline and you guys need to meet it. So it's weird. It's a weird dynamic in the show for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Very different. Yeah, it's interesting. We can start to get to the action here soon in episode 6. There's not a whole lot. Episode 4 and episode 5 were definitely slower. Not a whole lot happening. Still some good moments, but like episode 5 is really about Cassian kind of dealing with the new dynamics of like the crew that he's going to be working with here. Everyone pretty much hates him. They don't trust him. And I believe it was supposed to be someone else too, and it like didn't work out. So like it's just like not what they expected or who they expected. And then the Empire lands on Cassian's planet. I keep forgetting what the planet is called. I like know it in the back of my mind, but yeah, I keep forgetting. So apologize about that. But they land on his planet and kind of set up camp there, and then we get more cereal moments, so it's always good. I think Mom actually pours him a second bowl in episode 5, so that was nice. And
every
then
time this guy
yeah
he's eating a cereal. He loves it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of about it. Couple bowls of cereal in episode 5.
How long do you think it takes for Disney to come out with a cereal, by the way? Or do you think that they're just gonna like do it for their Galactic Star Cruiser?
Right? Maybe, but me and blue milk, dude. Sign me up. Sign me up.
He's here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go out and buy that tomorrow.
Dude. Yeah, I know you would. Yeah, if they sold like a package deal with like blue milk and the cereal.
Yeah.
Don would buy. Yeah, he would buy the whole aisle for sure, hands down.
You know what they need to do? They need to have the bottle, like the little canteen that they have at Disneyland. They need to have that in there, and then it's probably like a powdered blue milk, right? And so just have the powder inside that bottle in the cereal box. Good or bad, I'm buying it. I'm buying at least 2, one to actually eat and the other one to have on display with all my other Star Wars crap. So
yes,
sign me up.
Dom's there. He's there, Disney. Get it going for him, okay?
But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about episode 6. I think we can both agree this is the best episode of the series, episode 6.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, so far.
Yes.
Hopefully 12 will be the best, but we'll see.
10 wasn't that bad. I enjoyed 10.
Before we kind of get into episode 6, let's get this comment from Ryan. Oh yeah, Ryan, how are you doing? This is my buddy. We used to work together. Ryan says, hope Cyril lasts until season 2. Interesting nobody character that has too much screen time and sympathy to just be killed off in a finale or something. That's really true. For sure. A couple things that I like about this. Also, shout out to Ryan, super awesome guy, and we're gonna get him on the show sometime too, because he knows his Star Wars. Yeah, and he's an awesome guy. But a couple things that I like here that he brings out. This nobody character, or just like that archetype, right? It's interesting because like we talked about a couple times briefly, but like I feel like that's kind of what they were trying to do with like someone like Hux, General Hux in the sequels, you know what I mean? But I just feel like it's done right in this, you know what I mean? I'm sure that there's some other better examples too, but yeah, I like that, you know what I mean? Like he really is a nobody. He was like a deputy what was he? Deputy inspector, something like that. Um and then, he got fired, but it's like he's just like so fueled like with rage and like determination, and he's trying to really amount to something. So I think that's pretty awesome. I really like his character. I think he's one of the best characters in the show. And then
Definitely.
And then what do you think about that too, Jake, about not wanting him to be killed off just yet?
The actual guy that eats cereal all the time?
Yeah.
I already told you he's going to join the rebellion. That's my prediction. He's going to figure out, like, I'm probably on the wrong side. Although, now that I'm thinking about it,
I don't think so.
Like, yeah, because the rebellion is not about justice at all right now, especially Luthen is, like, just killing people, and, like, doesn't care about anyone. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I think he's going to come around. So I don't think he's going to die. If anything, the Empire, that chick is probably going to kill him because he's going to get his nose too far into her business. And she's like, well, I told you. And she's just going to like blast him away or put him into prison. Or
yeah, we didn't even talk about Deidre. I like her character too. She's like an annoying character done right, I think. But I actually feel differently. I think that he's getting to her, and he's making an impression, and I think they are going to end up teaming up together to try and find Cassian at the end. That's my prediction.
I don't know. It could be anything.
But yeah, appreciate the comments.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my prediction. I really think that they're gonna team up towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say that, a lot of things have been like set up for that to happen. Just the fact that his mom makes such a big point about him wanting, he like works so hard for people's approval.
Yeah,
and she isn't giving it to him, and that's all he wants is like her approval now. So like she's almost working him.
Dude, I love that part. Sorry to interrupt you if I did, but
no, go for it.
But like just what you're talking about when they're sitting down at the breakfast table, and she's telling him like, why the brown, and saying that it says something, and he's like, what does my suit say? And she's like, it screams, look at me. I need people's approval. I want people's approval, that sort of thing. Like, dude, this dialogue, it's like really good. It's stuff like that. It like really, it adds to her saying stuff like that, just like adds to his character even more. just like what you were saying, you know.
Yeah. So there might be some hidden messaging in there, and now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, but then maybe he's gonna figure out that that chick is just using him and really does not care about him. I don't know. I don't know. It can go a number of ways. It can go a
For
number
sure.
of ways.
For
So,
sure.
but yeah, there might be a lot of hidden messaging in the dialogue that when you look back, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, but
Definitely.
we're gonna have to find out in 2 more
Yeah.
episodes. So,
Guys, feel free to keep sending in any theories, thoughts, comments, questions, and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for us. Okay, yeah, let's get more into episode 6. Um, Probably the best episode so far. We already said that, and it takes a little bit of time to kind of get to all the action. Um, but yeah, I mean, what's like noteworthy from the beginning for you? Like, what stands out? What after they like, you know, get into their imperial uniforms and stuff?
before that,
No, or after when they're going off to the mission.
nothing too much stands out except for the only character I actually like is the young kid, and I think they do a great job at making him likable in the
Oh
show.
yeah,
The
yeah, definitely.
kid, but not to jump too many hoops here, but or jump the gun. The kid that gets crushed, and you
Yeah,
really don't want that to happen. And that's the only. That's probably the only time in the show where they've done something where I'm like, okay, like that's a bummer. Like that sucks. But he's a highlight, and I like that he's so trusting of Cassian, even though like he doesn't know him, and he doesn't need to know him. He just kind of rolls with it.
yeah.
And he knows that he's like an actual like asset to the team,
Mm-hmm.
and that they need him. Where everybody else is kind of like, we don't need you. Like, why are you even here, dude? Like, get out of here. But that was impactful for me. I thought the whole setup and everything of them training was pretty interesting. And then the intensity seemed very intense when they were trying to stick to their plan and how they walk and talk and
Yeah,
all that stuff.
stuff.
So
Hmm.
I really enjoyed that first part of that episode where you kind of don't know if they're even going to be able to get in. You're just kind of like, oh, geez, okay. I hope it works out for them.
Right.
And they do a great job at making all the other people kind of suspicious about what's going on. So I really enjoyed that part. And then they just gets kind of off the rails, man. The rebels kind of show their true colors, that they're willing to stoop down to the Empire's level, and they hold that one guy's family hostage and just
Yeah,
immediately kill. They just shoot that one guard, don't even care about him, just blast him away to like show that they don't care, and they'll kill that guy's family. So it gets a little dark for the rebellion, and we're starting to see that now, and what Cassian was talking about in Rogue One, and that they're just they have to do what they have to do. But that really stood out to me in this episode, is like they really don't care about other people, and they're willing to do whatever they have to do to get the job done to help out the rebellion. So
yeah, that's a really good point. We touched on it a little bit last week, but like, Luthen tells Mon Mothma later on, like, if you if your conscience is like bothering you throughout all of this, like, then we're not gonna get anywhere because you need to get rid of that. you know,
you just get rid
yeah,
of it. Yeah.
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 Obviously, it's not that easy for a lot of these other people that have like strong morals, which is good. But Luthen, obviously, he's sacrificed having like a clean conscience, um, and obviously that mentality and that mindset has passed down to these other rebels, because yeah, they're basically willing to do whatever it takes. Um, they're willing to do the wrongs to um, eventually have the rebellion just like take off and take control, hopefully. But yeah.
Well,
That is
That is
false.
false. Yeah, we're doing good, man. We're just trying to survive out here in these streets of YouTube right now.
Yeah.
They've been a little shisty with us, we'll say,
Trying to keep us down.
trying to keep us down, man. The overlords.
Yeah. I still have to put that out. We will get our Tales of the Jedi full watch party out there at some point.
Reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. I started working on it, but it's a long one.
I mean, honestly, you could probably just cut it down to like 5 minutes or like 5 to 8 minutes,
Yeah,
and that would be it.
I'm gonna try to. Hey, we got another one.
Oh, it's Vic. Vic, how you doing, brother?
Let's do it.
How was the bee sting, dude?
Vic's World, he says, is there any Star Wars Legends references in Andor? I haven't been keeping up to date on the series. It's a really good question. Star Wars Legends. So things that they pulled from like the books that aren't canon anymore. There could be. I haven't really picked up on much. Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't think that there is too much from Legends. Maybe a character or two, but I think that's it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if like some of the stuff, like some of the backstory with Mon Mothma has been pulled from Legends. I think that's very possible.
Yeah,
Know what
I
I'm
can
saying?
see that. Yeah, or they just said like we don't care about Legends or what the fans want, and let's just do our own thing, guys. Let's just do it. We're Disney. Everyone's gonna love it. Last Jedi. So.
Yep, I knew it was coming. It's a good movie. Anyways, moving right along. Yeah, so they get to the credits, they start loading it up. This whole scene was awesome where they're having those Imperials, the soldiers like load up their the credits onto the ship. Like, this is a great scene. And then obviously like they get caught, and then it's a whole blaster fight, and ultimately they lose a few guys, and then Cassian's able to get them out of there. Super cool transport. For me, this whole next sequence, which is like the climax of the episode, I feel like this is like one of the best space fights, like space sequences in all Star Wars. To me, this was like what I wanted from Solo, and I actually like the Solo movie. I think it's decent enough, but like, to me, this kind of like puts the whole Kessel Run to shame, which is sad because the Kessel Run is supposed to be a huge deal. It's supposed to be like a really huge deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're going through the eye, right?
Yes, yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a festival, and it's called the Eye.
Yeah, and it's like a meteor shower. Kind of looks like the Northern Lights. Dude, this episode looked amazing.
Yeah.
When they're flying through it, looks amazing. Also, we can't forget, we haven't seen stormtroopers just yet. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more later, if there's time. But we have seen now the TIE fighter pilots.
Yes.
And this is like the first time that they feel intimidating. Not only the pilots, like the troopers, but also the TIE fighters themselves, because we know that TIE fighters from like the movies and shows that we've seen, they can blow up pretty easily. But they've come across as a big threat, even when they're flying over the town. You remember that shot where they're like flying over the fields? I'm sorry, like the farmland.
Oh yeah, they'll mess you up.
And like people and the rebels are scared, and they're hiding. But I love that it's like we're taking we're taking these pilots and we're taking the ships a little more serious now for this series. Um, and yeah, so this whole chase scene with the TIE fighters going after the transport um, through the eye, it's amazing. Um, and like you mentioned, uh, unfortunately, our boy gets crushed. Um,
Mm,
it's so rough too.
mm,
But yeah, one of the cases of the credits, I think it was just like slides over and crushes his abdomen, and yeah, it's brutal.
yeah,
Um,
I feel like it breaks all of his ribs and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm sure he gives out a scream too that I can remember, and you're
Mhm.
just like, oh, geez, like, yeah, he's done for.
And then what's crazy is that he's the person that's supposed to be, giving the coordinates to help navigate Cassian through this, because Cassian can fly, but he needs the coordinates. He needs to know where to go. Um, and so like they're able to give him like a med stick, I think is what they called it. Like this injection, and to keep him alive for a little bit longer. And he's like calling out, telling him to climb or to dive. Meanwhile, the meteor shower, or the eye, is kind of like ripping their ship apart a little bit too, and then the TIE fighters are still on them. But yeah, just an amazing scene. Loved it. This is like my favorite part of this whole series so far.
Yeah, it was like that. It was a mix of emotions for sure, where it was
Yeah,
intense.
you
Like
felt it.
you felt sad. Like you knew this guy was gonna die. Like he's pretty much doing the last thing that he can do to help the
Hmm.
people in the rebellion, and you just feel bad for him, but you're also like freaking out. You don't know if they're gonna crash or the TIE fighters are gonna get him, or where like what's gonna happen. So I loved that scene, and that like whole ending of this episode was fantastic, emotional, gripping for sure. And it was just a spectacle for sure. Like what you're
Yeah,
saying, it looked good. The people that worked on She-Hulk should be embarrassed. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
seriously, seriously.
Because like what, yeah, I don't even know. Don't even want to get into it. I don't know what they're doing over there. But yeah, this was like shot well. Everything was awesome. So
And I mean, Mandalorian looks good, but even Mandalorian doesn't look this good
yeah,
as this show. Like, this is the best looking show. It
yeah.
really is, if you go and compare side by side. Um, so I don't know. I guess I'm hoping that season 3 will look even more pristine for Mando.
Yeah, we'll see how much the sets they do and if they go like different locations, because that's usually like the tell like sign of what's going on. Like I feel as if 4 through 5 and even 6, a lot of those locations like in the hills, I felt like I was there. Like they probably went somewhere to shoot those. Um, and so yeah, it really did a good job with how they handled everything. It looks better.
Yeah.
So
All right. So let's get a couple more comments. Ryan says, always game for more canon live action TIE footage. Yeah, definitely. I mean, as far as like Star Wars sounds go,
oh my gosh.
not a lot tops the sound of a TIE fighter flying by.
Yeah, some of that, like those shots I did with them flying over the rebellion base camp right there, and they're all freaking
Mhm.
out, and you hear the screaming of a TIE fighter coming in, like
Yeah.
whoo. So yeah, the noise was really good too. The sound
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
show is pretty good. So
Yeah. I really like the music too.
mm-hmm.
And then Ryan also says, shame Rogue Squadron is probably canceled. Um, yeah, um, we never even talked about that. We could talk about that for a minute,
Yeah, I
and
don't know
we're
anything
almost
about
we're
it,
almost we're
but
almost done with our review here, anyways. Um, but
we're
yeah,
pretty much, yeah. We have a few things to get through at the end of episode 6, but that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a couple, but um, yeah. So Rogue Squadron, for anyone who isn't aware, It was supposed to be Patty Jenkins' movie. Um, Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, she may write Wonder Woman 2 or be part of the writing process. Anyways, um, she was going to be, I believe, writing and directing this Rogue Squadron movie, and I think that just got canceled not too long ago. Um, it sounded like there's some drama, some conflicts. Uh, Honestly, though, I do want a Rogue Squadron movie, but I don't really want Patty Jenkins to direct it. Um, I don't think a lot of people really like her, and I guess I'm just not one of them. I I'm not too crazy about how she handles Wonder Woman, so
Yeah.
uh, and it's totally different. So I can't really say that she would make a bad Star Wars movie. I don't know. She might make a really good one. Um,
Is
but
this the show that
no,
Gina
it's a movie.
Carano, or the movie
No,
Gina? Oh, okay. Then I don't know then.
no, this Rogue Squadron movie was gonna be like a pilot movie. It was gonna be like an X-wing pilot movie, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I thought Gina Carano was supposed to be in that. That kind of threw a wrench in everything because
No, she was gonna be in Rangers of the New Republic.
Oh, okay. There you go.
They showed a clip of Rogue Squadron. It was like just like this fun teaser at like one of the last. It was like a year or two ago for like one of the Disney Expo days or whatever. Um, where like Patty Jenkins is like she's roller skating on like the um at like an airport, or not an airport, but like for
In the airport.
like a like the flight paths for like the jets. Like her dad was he was in the Air Force, I think.
Oh, okay.
So um yeah, she was kind of like telling a little bit of a story, or like just giving some background that maybe she would be taking some inspiration from her dad since he was a pilot, which I do kind of like that. I did kind of like the sound of that, but at the same time, like, um, I'm not really bummed that it's not going to work out for her. Directing. Um, yeah, I don't mean to sound mean. It's just I was worried, you know, because yeah, again, I'm not crazy about how she handles Wonder Woman, so I guess I just had some concerns about her handling Star Wars.
Well, now I'm disappointed because I would have loved to see a young Porkins get in the action
Right,
again.
right.
Porkins, pull up, Porkins.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Ah, bam.
um,
Poor Porkins, dude. That would have given
yeah,
that scene a lot more meaning. If
we
could see
probably would
young
have
Porkins.
seen a young Wedge too.
Ooh, that would have been interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe later on it'll work out. Well, who knows? We'll see.
Let's see.
Okay, so kind of finishing up episode 6. They're able to get out of the eye, and oh, that was interesting too. One of the guys who's left, the guy that's been giving Cassian a hard time for a while, who just giving him trouble. He wants to help save the kid who just got injured really badly, and then Vel, she doesn't necessarily want to help him. She just wants to get the heck out of there. But Cassian decides to land, and then they find a doctor and trying to get him some help, but it's not looking good. It doesn't work out for him, and then we get to have this conversation. By the way, I'm getting a little bit of an echo, Jake. I don't know if it's on my end or
from yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing it.
Okay. All right. I won't worry then.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah, you want to touch a little bit on this conversation between the two guys?
Oh, geez, I don't really remember it too well. You had to
Okay.
correct me.
My bad.
Yeah, I can't
Well,
really remember.
the gist of it was that he wants to just split the money between him and Cassian, and
Yeah,
like leave Vel out of it. Um,
he just seems like a
and
punk. Yeah,
yeah, he really does. And then you know, Cassian thought he was like a little bit more noble from like one of their last conversations that they had, but it turns out that he lied to him about like having a brother and stuff. Um,
with a ranch.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so yeah, he keeps kind of like talking about just like the two of them, getting out of there and splitting it, and then he'll forget about Cassian and everything, and they'll both just part ways. Um, and then Cassian does his Cassian move, and he shoots him right there on the spot. That's his go-to move. He's fast on the trigger.
yeah. He does not care. He will shoot anybody.
Yep.
You
So
get his order wrong at McDonald's. Sorry, you're done. He said no mayo. Okay, done for.
so yep,
I thought
takes him out.
it's an interesting conversation. He has a conversation with him where he's like, "Listen, Cassie, we're both the same. I knew the moment I saw you. Like we come from nothing, and all we know is to crawl over anybody else to get out of bad situations." And yeah, he like hits him with that ultimatum, like, "Let's get out of here. Let's split it. I don't even care about you. I don't even have a brother. I'm just basically a selfish person." Um, Basically just makes himself sound like a lunatic.
Right.
And Cass is like, dude, I don't like when he was saying that to Cass, you could see in Cass's head, like, I don't trust you after you just spilled all that stuff and said like you're willing to kill anybody. Like you're probably gonna kill me immediately. So Cass like just like, all right, dude, like that's it then. See you later. Pow. Like done for.
Yeah, I really think that that's something that's going through his head when he decides to pull the trigger on these people. Is It's really kill or be killed.
Yeah. Like he doesn't trust anybody. And so, especially some shady guy I just met that's like, dude,
Yeah.
let's steal all this money from the rebellion. Let's go out, like, live our lives. So he's like, dude, why would I even? You're probably going to kill me. Like, you want me to fly the ship so we can go
Mhm.
somewhere you can shoot me? Like, that's not going to happen, dude.
And also, he can fight. He can fight to a degree, hand to hand, but he is like, um I don't think he's that tall, and he's definitely pretty skinny. Um, and the other guys wasn't. So a lot of the guys that he's running into these altercations with, um, he's at disadvantage. So I think that kind of makes sense too. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
it's not cool that he's just shooting them, but um, yeah, all these things that I'm assuming are going through his mind.
He's a very calculated person
Mm-hmm.
with very little emotion.
Yeah.
And that's just the kind of character Cassian is. He just, if he only sees one way out, he's going to take that one way out and he doesn't care what he has to do for that one way out. He's just going to do it just because he doesn't want to die. And he still has his motives that we talked about last week with his sister that he's still trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure out.
Yeah, that's
So
part of this too. I think his
yeah,
bitterness, it's made him cold.
100%. So,
The
but then
streets
after that,
turned him into a gangster.
straight up. So then after he shoots that guy and he talks to that chick, what's her name again?
No.
Val. Goes and talks to Val and says like, dude, he was about to just take the money and get out of here. She doesn't even believe him. And he's like, I just want my cut. Like, I don't even care. Just give me my 40 million and like, I will go wherever. I don't care if you live or die. Like, I did the mission. I need to get paid. Take the crystal, bring it back to your daddy, I guess.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. And so he's like out. He's out at this point, and he doesn't want anything to do like with the rebellion or anything like that. So that's what I was saying earlier. I'm curious to see how he gets kind of roped back into the like rebellion because he was over it. He was done. He was out in episode 6. He's did his job for this weird guy that he was just trying to sell something to. I got roped into this mission, and poor kid dies, unfortunately. Doctor looks like a weirdo with his goggles and stuff, but we're gonna get past that. But yeah, how did you feel about this scene? Like, did you feel the same way I felt? Like, where he's sick of it. He doesn't even want to be a part of anything, or like, did you get a sense that he kind of wants to do something, but just has other objectives to complete, or what?
I think if he's torn between the two decisions, it's like very, very little. Um, I think he's more so of the mindset that um, that they're just crazy for thinking that they can really hurt them to the level that they think they can.
Mm.
Because he knows that he can outsmart the Empire. He knows that he can steal from them. Um, but he doesn't think that that they can all make that big of a difference to bring them down.
Okay.
You know, I
Mhm.
think he's trying to be a realist here.
He's calculated.
Yeah,
Yeah. Gosh,
I
I'm
mean
more.
he's right in a lot of ways because at this point they really can't do anything to really hurt them a whole lot. I mean, them stealing the money did a little bit, um, but on the like the big picture, they can't hurt them. Like even when we get to episode 4, they're struggling to hurt them. It's not until like the very end, and so we're seeing now in that's what's cool about this show too is like some people are like, well, why am I going to care about Cassian's story if I already know that that he dies in Rogue One. Sorry, I should have done the spoiler thing. Hopefully you guys have seen Rogue One.
If you haven't seen Rogue One, guys, I don't
Yeah,
know.
why are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so but it's not just about, his story. This is about the beginning of the rebellion and how he's played a huge part in it, and then these other characters that he's surrounded by also play a huge part. And it's like a lot of these um small fights that they're doing, like the battles that they're going through, or the missions they're going through, are ultimately it's ultimately what's going to win them the war later on. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I want to get into it because episode 10 was a good one. Like,
Yeah.
we have another week, 2 weeks before we even get to episode 10. But holy smokes. Yeah. I mean, the show is getting better. It is. It's just, it drags. It drags just a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But,
I hear you.
you know, I do love what they're doing with the characters, and they're fleshing them out like a lot. And they're really showing how, like, why Cassian is the way he is in Rogue One, Gosh, yeah, that speech in episode 10 was good. But we'll get to that in 2 weeks, guys. Oh, George.
We should watch Rogue One when this is all over too.
Oh, I'll do another review on it. That's hands down my favorite Star Wars movie, I think. And
Is it really?
Besides episode 3, I think that is probably, that's my second favorite. Like, I love the old ones. The old ones are great. Don't get me wrong. They're a little too stiff for me, if that makes any sense. The fighting styles.
Yeah.
The story's kind of stiff. The architecture even is just rigid, stiff. So I do like the episodes 4 through 6 in the movies, but Rogue One is just, that was my kind of movie, and Dom knows what I mean when I say my kind of movie. Everybody dies, okay, and that's like, you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
You gotta
not really a happy ending, but a satisfying ending.
Because it's a lot of people want to. Now I'm going to talk about WandaVision. Here I go again. Hold me back, Jake. Don't want to go on another rant here.
Stay back, dude. Stay
a
back.
lot of people, a lot of writers, and with these shows or movies, they want to use this element of sacrifice. And you really have to be careful when you do that. You have to stick the landing. Rogue One does it very well. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to get into it. Um, yeah, it's a great film, and that's one of the reasons why it's so good is because they know how to use that, you know, that plot point um, of sacrifice.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Really well, really well. There's like
Hmm.
multiple sacrifices throughout Rogue One. Her dad, pretty much like sacrificing his whole life to help the rebellion, and set up that whole thing, and then at the end, trying to sacrifice himself for the people that he was working with, and end up dying for his daughter. And oh my George, it's a roller coaster of emotion for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I really like Rogue One. I really like it. And then at the very end of this episode, we go back to Luthien, and he's in a shop, and the guy's like, "Hey, do you have any things from Aldini or whatever?"
Yeah.
Because like, you hear about that huge rebel attack that happened? And he's like, "Oh, let me just check in the back real quick." And he goes into the back of his shop, and he starts laughing out of
Hmm.
happiness, like, "Oh, we did it! Like, awesome!"
Yeah.
Even and it, he doesn't necessarily know what's happened, where pretty much everybody died on that mission. But I don't think he would really care that much either. It was a mission success. He
Yeah.
he did what he was trying to do. So,
Right.
um, you know,
It's all that matters.
that's all that matters.
A win's a
So,
win.
yeah, you got to get that W. Got
Yeah.
to get that W.
Well, all right. I mean, I think that pretty much does it for our review tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
We're going to keep it short, 30, 45 minutes.
I know, right? Next week we will we'll do 7 through 10 or 7 through 9.
I mean, should we do 7 through 9 or should we do 7 through 10? We should probably do
whatever you want.
We should probably do 7 through 10. We'll talk about it, but
Okay. We'll let you guys know.
we'll let you guys know. It'll be next week though, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Make sure you guys hit that like. Please comment if you guys are rewatching this video. It's gonna help us out, and we're gonna respond, of course. But yeah, I'm stoked to see how this ends, man. Me too. I hope it gives us Rogue One vibes. That's all I want.
I think these last 2 episodes are going to be really good.
Mm-hmm. I'm really hoping they have to set up season 2 in a big way. So
Mm-hmm.
we will find out.
As always, thanks for being here, getting through the review with me.
Yeah,
And,
of course.
appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Appreciate you guys watching on the replay too. Like I mentioned before, we will be putting up our reaction for Tales of the Jedi. Definitely, you guys need to go and watch that.
Yes.
Mainly the stuff with Dooku. It's worth it. It's so worth it.
Yeah.
Especially if you like if you're a fan of the prequels, it's so worth it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I guess we're signing off for now, but we will be back next week with our Andor review. And yeah, we'll catch you then.
All right. See you later, guys.